Infrastructure segment and ask the question, is the capex cycle, at least for the infra segment, really turning? We saw some improving trends towards the close of last financial year. What's in store for FY18? Mr. Vinayak Chatterjee of Feedback Infra is with us. We also have, of course, the management from Dilip Buildcon joining in. Rohan Suryavanshi is with us as well. Gentlemen, good morning and good to have you on Bazaar. Mr. Chatterjee, let me start with you first. We did get some interesting and encouraging data towards the end of last year, which seemed to suggest that capex is picking up, the number of stalled projects is going down, ordering is increasing. What's your reading of FY18 so far?
Look, so far as FY18 is concerned, I think it will still be a public expenditure-driven, construction-positive environment. There is order books, and I'm sure my friend from Dilip Buildcon will agree, the order books of most medium-sized construction companies, EPC companies, are in pretty good shape. Analysts say that order books are now crossing almost 2x annual turnover, twice an annual turnover, which is healthy. And they're really coming from a few segments, which is roads and highways, renewables, railways, irrigation, transmission and distribution, and a fair beginning of urban infrastructure, with many municipalities energized by the Smart Cities program going in for effluent treatment, water treatment, car parks, city roads, etc. So urban infrastructure across Indian towns and cities is also helping to bolster order books. But in conclusion, it is still a public expenditure driven positive order book scenario for EPC and contracting companies, and therefore with a positive fallout on construction, equipment, industry and related supplies. But private capital in infrastructure is still to show any great signs of pickup. But let me stop here.
Okay. Mr. Chatterjee, let me take that point forward. So how much higher would the capex be from public sector enterprises in FY18 compared to FY17 and compared to the start of the year? Has there been any incremental pickup in or any encouraging signs in terms of private sector capex picking up? We know it's not picked up at the full throttle, but are there any signs that it might pick up, say, by the end of FY18 at least?
Okay, I'll take your last question first. I think, capacity utilization across Indian industry is now hovering around 70 to 75%. Particularly the sectors which are now seeing increasing order books, as I said, areas like cement, areas like steel, areas like construction equipment and construction related supplies. We believe that now that in the course of this fiscal, they will be hitting capacity utilizations of around 80 to 85%. Now, it is at that level when capacity utilization reaches 85 to around 90% in that band, that management start thinking of expanding capacity. So my understanding would be that in Q3 and Q4 of this year, you will see some of the sectors which are positively impacted by this public expenditure driven growth starting to make capex decisions again.
Okay, so let's bring in Rohan Suryavanshi into the conversation as well. Rohan, what's your reading of the way, tenders are being put out as of now, and what does that or how does that rather reflect into your own order book growth targets for this year?
Hi guys, thank you very much first of all for having on your show. So in terms of how the order inflow looks, I think Vinayak sir has been fairly he hit the nail on the head when he talks about how the order activity has kept on improving. If I could give you some numbers, from FY15, when the new government came in, they had awarded about 8,000 kilometers of roads. To FY17 last year, when the year financial just ended, they awarded about 15,000 kilometers of roads. And now the minister has publicly stated that he wants to award more roads in the next 2 years than he has in the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, it was 8,000 kilometers, then 9,000, and then 15,000. So in the next 2 years, we should see a huge improvement in terms of how the order activity should look. We are very, very excited. Now, specifically, if I can talk about this quarter, how it's been. It's usually the first quarter, and this is a year-on-year phenomena, is usually a little tepid. Because once the year ends, the government, gets into the mode of getting all the finances, and then the ordering activity tends to be a little muted, but then we tend to see a pickup in quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. Now, something like that is great for a company like us because the way that our orders have followed, come in the past, and the way that the orders now will be executed, it is best for us to be getting orders in quarter 3 and quarter 4. So, in the last financial year, Dilip Buildcon as a company, we managed to win about 11,000 crores of orders. This year, we are expecting about 8,000 crores of new orders, and this will be spread across roads, this will be spread across mining, and this will be spread across the urban infrastructure that we have been typically doing in the last 2-3 years.
Okay, Rohan, we're running out of time, so I'm going to try and keep this, keep this short. Last leg of GST, how will it impact the company?
There's still a lot of confusion about how the GST will be impacting companies like us. The good thing is that because there will be set-offs given for each and every item that we'll be doing, so that's the good part of it. In terms of the fact that now all works contracts are also covered under GST, and earlier any of the public contracts that we did, none of them had service tax. So that is, that's a new addition that we'll have. But the fact that we are getting set-offs for all the other things that we have. So as of now, I think it's still there's still a lot of, there's still lack of clarity. But in the next few days, and we're still working on this, we should have a better idea about how this will impact. I think Mr. Vinayak Chatterjee sir will be better placed to answer that, given he sees the whole breadth of.
Yeah, I'm going to actually quickly take that last question with Mr. Chatterjee. Mr. Chatterjee, so where do you expect maximum traction? Do you expect the road ministry's targets in terms of ordering to actually be realistic? Will they be met? We keep hearing about more capex, for instance, on the fertilizer side when we're talking about public capex. Where do you expect things to start looking up?
Look, so far as roads is concerned, I certainly agree with the point made that capex is going to significantly increase because there are various wheels at play. It's not just it's just not NHAI. There's NHAI and there is the new PSU under the Ministry of Road Transport, NHDCIL, which today has an order book of 90,000 crores, which it will subcontract to EPC contractors. Then there are about 10 state road corporations that are pretty active in the game. So when you add all of this together, highways is clearly the sector which is going to lead to order books. Transmission, there are very large plans for investing in the transmission sector. So transmission, railway track and railway electrification are also going to be fairly large, and the point's already been made by Rohan that, surprisingly, urban infrastructure is picking up on the order book, and not many of us are tracking it because it is so granular. Town by town, city by city, there are contracts coming out from waste to energy, effluent treatment, water treatment, metro rail, city roads, city distribution. So the whole sphere of urban infrastructure, I think across all of us, needs far more granular attention now than ever before.
Gentlemen,